Hi, I'm Dr. Paul, and welcome to Chiropractic Patient Education. And that's really where everything starts. You know, I do a lot of consulting, and I say, and this YouTube channel is about patient education only. It's about chiropractic. It's about patient education. That's what it's about. In other words, when you don't know patient education, patients just come in for what are called market forces, their symptom care, and they leave. When you, the better knowledge and skill you have, you can actually have the patient stay for their functional capacity care. You can have them stay for lifetime care. In other words, you can grow a practice significantly and you can do it real fast. And it's all based on the patient's, it's based on the patient's 3 phases of healing and their test. And that's what the care should be based on. And if it's not, it's called malpractice. So that's what our patient education is based on, the documentation and the education. And patients love it because it's patient-centric. We're not trying to push, any of our belief systems on the patient. It's all about them and the science of how they heal and the test of how they heal, what it's going to take, how it's going to take it. And it makes total sense to them. And then we just make it affordable. And you'd be amazed at how many patients will go, yeah, that makes total sense to me. It's affordable. Yes, sign me up. That's what happens. But that's where all business starts when you want to grow your business. And the reason is if you're not good at patient education and you're losing patients left and right, then you have to advertise more, so you get lower quality patients. They cost more. They're more difficult to deal with, which is very different than if you have trusted sources patients, or if you know how to affect the awareness of their trust and increase their trust. So that's what happens. That's chiropractic patient education. And of course, you know already, if you hit the subscribe button, you get, you'll have, when you do go on YouTube, you'll see more of my videos. And if you hit the alert button, then every time I post something about new patients or patient education, you get notified. So if you want to go ahead and do that. Also, I give free training. So if you want some free training, head over to my site, which is chiropracticpatienteducation.com, and sign up there and you'll get some free training. In other words, I give a lot of free information away so you get a really good picture of how patient education works and doesn't work, and what does work and what doesn't work and why. So that's exactly how that works. So, so just hit the subscribe button, hit the alert button, go over to the website and sign up for some free training. And you'll have a really good idea of what works, what doesn't work, and why it does or doesn't work. And there's some very specific, there's about 5 very specific human reasons, so they're not chiropractic reasons, they're human reasons of why and how patient education does or does not work. And if you violate any of those 5, then you will essentially lose the patients that much faster. And if you're not good at patient education at all, then they come and stay for market forces, which is typically 4, 5, 6 visits, something like that, 8 visits, and then they leave. And so they do not even get the care that they need or be offered to go through all 3 phases of healing. So they're not even getting the care to go through the repair model phase. In other words, they're just basing everything on the inflammatory stage and symptom care, and that's not good. That's what causes, when patients heal wrong, that's what causes permanent problems to some degree the rest of their life. So we explain a lot of these in different videos and tips and training, so go ahead and sign up for the patient education. But everything starts with patient education, everything. If you're not good with patient education, you probably don't have much of a practice, and everything else is much more difficult. You're probably spending a lot more money. The patients you do get are what are called cold call patients with no trust, much more difficult, which means your overhead is going to be higher, also lower profit, higher overhead, worse patients. So, everything starts. A good, highly profitable practice starts with good patient education. And by the way, so does just being ethically and moral. In other words, when you don't have the documentation to support the patient education based on the science of the 3 phases of healing, that's not usual, customary, and reasonable. And actually, it's called malpractice, and that's what they'll look for. So anyway, sign up for the site. patient education, and you get a lot of free information, tips, and training here. Matter of fact, if you go back and watch the videos that are here, you'll pick up a lot. And then if you actually go to the site, patienteducation.com, sign up there, and we actually give some free training away there to help support chiropractors to easily communicate with patients to get them to stay and pay for care, which is not difficult when patients understand the 3 phases of healing, the relationship of the mile markers relative to the 3 phases of healing, your role as the chiropractor through each phases of the healing, and then make it affordable. It's really not that difficult. And most of the people will go, yeah, that makes total sense. Sign me up. That's what happens. So we look forward to it. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the button. If you get a chance, go over to the website, sign up for some free training there. And maybe one day we'll see you at one of our seminars, our workshops on patient education.